it is funny when you think of brand, right? Think of like the logo I've got
Uh-huh.
on my shirt here, the color of the jerseys, Jesse's yellow tux, the bases, those things pop. But I think what our brand is, and we try and live out as a brand, is it's fans. Fans are our brand, and we would be nothing. That yellow would mean nothing. This really cool logo would mean nothing if we didn't think about how to make fans, how to put them first in what we do. And so when we think about where we are going, where we want to go, it's where our fans are or where we think they might be going. You can even look at adding two new teams. And we're up to six now. We're pushing the stakes of competitiveness because we know there are fans out there who will hook onto the storyline of competitiveness of I want the party animals to win.
Uh-huh.
I want the coconuts to win. That's my team. That's my player. But also it's about being able to reach more fans. If we have more teams, we can play more games in front of more people.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Comms Confidential. We're talking to the public relations and communicators who are setting the news and the agendas every day. Today, I'm really excited to have Sam Bauman of the Savannah Bananas with us. But before we go to Sam, I just want to remind you to subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're also on Amazon Music and iHeartRadio now. So check us out there. Sam, thanks for joining us today. I know the season just got started, so it's fantastic timing. Let's start with you, though. What's your origin story? How did you get into communications, PR, and ultimately find your way to the Bananas?
Yeah. Hey, first off, pumped to be hanging out with you here. Pumped to have some time to chat with you. This is great. Really excited for it. Yeah, to give you a brief backstory, I'll make it as brief as possible, as briefable as I can. I spent 10 years doing local news. I went to Wheeling Jesuit University where I got a communications degree. But the whole idea was actually to do news. I had like a broadcasting track, but my college was so small, two school. Basically, I went there because like you can play soccer here, and I was like, oh, sweet. I'll figure out education after that. Uh, I got a communications degree and end up finally I applied for a lot of jobs, but finally found a job working in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in local news as a morning anchor. Spent 3 years doing that there, which is really great. Met my wife there, so I'd say overall
Hey,
pretty big win for me.
that'll work. That'll
Yeah,
work.
yeah, paid off. Then we moved south, right, to Ohio, where my wife worked at a station in Toledo. I made the commute to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Then we went really south, down to Savannah, Georgia, just because we're like, you know what? We've always liked the idea of living where it's like hot and there's a beach, and let's try it out. We've done cold and snow. Let's try this out. And so I worked for the CBS affiliate there, WTOC, for 4 years, and I moved there just before 2020, very end of 2019. At that point, the Bananas had already been around for about 3 years.
Uh-huh.
From the moment I moved here, it's like all anybody would talk about. They're just like, it is so cool. You have to go to a game. Like, you get all you can eat food with your like $20 ticket at the
Uh-huh.
time. And it's really fun. There's just nothing like it. And so I was like, immediately like, okay, I've got to get to a game. Maybe the one good thing that came from the pandemic was it was easier to get to a game during that time. So I got to see some games in 2020 and few other times after that. But obviously, working in local news, I also got to cover the Bananas, which was really great. And as someone who, I could do the hard news, but I didn't really love covering crime. I didn't really love covering politics.
Uh-huh.
And the Bananas had neither of either of those things, which was great. And they were just doing like fun, out of the box stuff. And their social media was everywhere. So anytime something crazy was going on, it's like I was hand up in the newsroom, like I'll go talk to him about that. That's great. So I found my way over at Grayson a good amount of times. Through that, was able to obviously meet Jesse, some of the players, and more so our team president, Jared Orton, who's been here since the beginning. And we became pretty close. His wife and my wife and everyone, we'd hang out a good bit. And I was always in his ear, because I was just always so curious. I was like, how are you guys doing this? How are you guys growing this? This makes no sense to me. This is so fun. And he wouldn't say it, but I probably bugged him. I was so curious. I was just so curious about what they were doing over here. And, about a little over 2 years ago, he kind of called me out of the blue. And, hey, he was like, hey, Sam, I know we kind of joke about it. And I was like, I was never joking, but he's like, I know we kind of joke about it. He's like, but I think we've hit a point where we need somebody to come in that we trust, that knows us,
Hmm.
and handle media relations for us. We're getting big enough that we've been trying to do it with like just having other people kind of do it here, kind of do it there. But we need somebody who's really focused on making that happen and making a good impression on folks we work with in the media. So he's like, any interest? And I was like, say less. Like I'm so in, so excited. Never thought that I would find a way in over here. I couldn't have dreamt it because it didn't exist when I was growing up, and it's awesome. It's awesome. That's a little snippet of how I wound up here.
Yeah. So you actually, when you set out after college, it was to get into news, and you wanted to be a newscaster, whether sports or just daily news, that kind of thing. You were never thinking about going into PR, never
That was
thinking about communications.
it wasn't on my mind. Had always, you know, I'd say I was joking, but I wasn't joking. I liked doing presentations when I was like in high school. I had like some teachers be like, "Oh, you're really pretty good at speaking in front of people." And I thought, cool. So if I can find a way to talk for a living, that'd be pretty ideal. Like I just got to find a career where they're just like, go ahead, talk. And so like news made sense. As a kid who grew up loving sports, like I would say the ultimate dream was like, oh, I want to be on Sports Center. I want to be one of those guys.
Yep.
But I could never, sports was so competitive and I wasn't good enough. And so I couldn't find a sports job. And the first station that cracked the door open was like, well, you want to do this? I was like, yeah, whatever, get me in. But it was never on my mind. And it was something that a lot of journalists do make that transition. So, when you're having a bad day at work, you're like, I just go do PR somewhere, right? And that sounds fun. I
That
don't
makes
have,
us feel good.
yeah,
When you're
yeah,
having a bad day, that's what you go do.
yeah, that's our dream. You're like, that sounds nice. They're not showing up to a crime scene or getting yelled at by somebody for the story they did. Yeah, that sounds good,
No, we get
So
yelled at for the story you guys do
yeah,
on the
right.
media
Yes,
side.
exactly. You're yelling at us. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome though. So sports and entertainment was never the thing, but clearly you've adapted to it. You've been able to move in and be a natural fit. What did you take away from like your time as a broadcaster, as a newscaster, to not just PR, but like the whole culture of Banana Ball, which is fast paced, fan first, like trying new things. I would think, when you're on TV or you're covering a crime scene, to what you said earlier, like you got to keep it within the bounds a little bit. You got to stay with the tried and true. And the Bananas are not like that at all.
No, no, they're not. Yeah, there is like Jesse talks about it all the time. It's like tearing down the red tape, which we are able to do because we are small and we're
Hmm.
growing, but we are small in the way that Jesse has intentionally set it up that we do our own merch, we do our own tickets, it's all internal. So we are able to pull away red tape in a lot of organizations, a lot of industries where you can't. It's just not doable. Even out there are sports organizations. So working in local news, yeah, it was tough because there was this idea of like, oh, I want to have creative freedom. I want to
Hmm.
do something different. But yeah, either it was this context of the story, you're just like, well, we can't play around with that, or you didn't have time and they didn't want to test stuff, and it was just kind of, it was very by the book. It was just like, this is how we do things, this is how we've always done them, this is how we're gonna do them. And here, as you mentioned, it's so much different than that. It's like, let's try, and we are okay with failing as long as we're learning from it. It's okay to fail. It's okay to put something out there and say,
It's not actually failure.
yes,
If you
yeah,
learn from it, it's not failure.
100%, 100%. And we lean into that a lot where it's like, okay, you're passionate about this. The thing is, let's try it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. We learn from it. We can
Hmm.
tweak it. We can say that's not for us. And it is really cool to walk into an environment like that and all of a sudden have this freedom to try things and test things and show a little bit more of who you are. It's been a blessing, and I learned a lot from my time in news. Obviously, it set me up with a lot of skills that probably wouldn't apply to maybe all PR or marketing jobs, where I can shoot with the camera, I can write, I can edit, I can be on camera itself. And I also know how to work with really tight timelines because we were doing a story every single day that you wrote and shot and edited and set up and everything like that. And it also allowed me to see, I'd seen from the other side what it feels like when somebody treats you really well. I cover the Masters, and
Hmm.
gosh, if you want to go somewhere where they like treat you like royalty as a member of the media, go to the Masters because it's like You got your own locker. They give you a nameplate. It's all you can eat food. And it's really great food, and they got drinks there too. It's just like, man, you're like, this. I want to. I wish the Masters was year round. But I also know what it's like to show up to places where you can tell, like, they don't want me here. This is, I'm an issue to them. I can feel it, and this isn't fun, and it's hard.
Mhm.
So I had that insight of what it felt like to have an easy life as a journalist, and that's helped me here. Because as when I walked in the door, Jesse and Jared were very clear. We are fans first entertainment. And fans are not just people who are sitting in the seats at our games. They are the people who comment through to work with us as well, whether it's media or anybody externally. We want them to be fans of the experience of working with us. So
Mhm.
how do we do that? What red tape can we pull away for them? So whenever we come back into town or they want to come, it's like I've got to cover them. I don't care what's going on. It was fun. It was easy. How can I get involved? So um, I learned a lot about what I loved from local news, and I'm able now to do some of the stuff I wished I could have done within the confines of local news as well.
So what are they? What are some of those things? Because now you've got us interested into like to you what you've been able to do that's maybe you couldn't do otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, from a like logistics standpoint in journalism, it's like, man, stories, like for the most part, minute 30. Minute 30 is your goal time. Anything longer, you are begging and pleading a producer. This could be a better story. Just give me 30 more seconds. Give me this. But nope, we got to fit so much in and so much time. And that's just how it is. And you might even have a great story that day that you think is really fun. And they're like, guess what happened last night? That's what you're going to cover today. But here, it's like, I would finish a story that was like 2 minutes, 30 seconds that might be going on YouTube or whatever, and they'd be like, "Can you make it longer? Do you have more?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I could do that if you want." Like, I just am so used to, yeah, I'll make it longer. If there's more to tell. Like you get attached to your stories when you're the one writing them and editing, where everything feels so important. And here they're like, "Let's go long. Why not go long? Why not see what we can do?" And even getting to be a sideline reporter here as well too, which is really fun during the games. It's like the opposite of what you would see in local news when you're doing a live shot or even anchoring, where it's like, hey, this is how you do it. You're professional, very quick. You might try and have fun here and there, but most of the time it doesn't call for that. And here it's like, oh yeah, I'd love to interview Bill Leroy. He's had a really great stretch. We could talk with him, maybe before he goes up to bat in one of the innings. And they're like, okay, so how can we make that like bigger? You're like, oh, okay, like more than just trying. So it's like, okay, so then you come up with the idea of like, like in golf, there's always like somebody teaching you golf. They'll kind of wrap their arms around you and like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. I was like, what if I have Bill wrap his arms around me, grab my hips? It's all in the hips, Sam. You gotta do this. You gotta do that.
The old Happy Gilmore line.
Yeah, right. All in the hips. Do this whole bit and be a little bit over the top and a little bit goofy, um, because the idea of the medium, and I think we can learn. Local news could stand to learn from it too. Is like grabbing attention, like Jesse and Jared and our incredible broadcast team talk about all the time when we do our broadcasts. It's like this is going to be on in a bar where nobody can hear you. There's no sound playing. Everybody's talking. So how do we get eyeballs on the TV that are asking what the heck is going on there, without being able to hear it? And they can watch and be engaged if there was no audio at all. So it's like thinking of like, yeah, sometimes it calls to just stand next to Jesse and talk to him and let him wax poetic about the growth of the game. But it's like, how can we make it bigger? How can I get on a player's shoulders to interview stilts? Or what can we do to get people to look up? Because as Jesse says, attention beats marketing 100% of the time. So how do we get that attention? And what does that look like? And sometimes it fails. And that's great. We learn from it and we figure out a better way to do it. And it's really cool to have that freedom.
To be on the field and have to like think through that in the moment, probably not the process you go through. You probably have like a plan and some sort of like meeting where before the game you're like, okay, these are the things that we're gonna do that we know we're gonna do. What is that? And that of course is improvisational elements because you never know what's gonna happen on a
Yep.
baseball field. What's the planning session look like? Like talk to us like how does that actually fit? What are you thinking about? What are all the aspects like? And I think about it from like, a more corporate position. Like we sit in a room, we figure out all these things and okay, this is how we're going to execute, but we don't have that. Well, what if it doesn't work on the field? What if the song doesn't get anyone going? What if like all these other pieces? Cause not usually we're not in front of a live audience. You guys have to deal with the audience and however they're feeling that day. So what does that look like?
Yeah. So, all of our departments, we do what we call OTT sessions. Over the top is what OTT
Mhm,
stands for. And so we come together as a broadcast team, and usually early in the week, playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it might be. Early in the week, usually Tuesday, something like that, we'll come together and sit down at a table, very much like what you're
mhm,
talking about, and bring these kind of over the top ideas. We have really smart people like Josh Talevsky, one of our broadcasters, who is like an almanac of information and stats. Like he's helped grow our entire like every way we keep stats and track stats has been Josh led, and he can bring you like the hey, Ryan Cox, he's on a hot streak right now. He's batting 500 this month, and he's had 27 trick plays and whatever, or Bradford Webb, he pitched really great in Baltimore last year. What is it about, he can bring you kind of these storylines. And then it's like taking those and then plussing it, as we said. It's like, okay, so how do we talk to Ryan Cox in a way that is going to bring attention that not only, and we have to think about it this way, that not only works in a broadcast environment in a bar where you can't hear anything, but also plays well as content later that we could put out on our channels, make sure we can pull off these big ideas that we can, get more bang for your buck. If we're going to do this, let's do it in a way that we can utilize it in multi different facets. And so it's coming with those, and those are, it's like, yeah, okay, we'll mic up these players this inning, and Sam, you'll do sideline, and let's talk to Ryan. We'll do mid third, and why don't you run out on the field with him, and he'll be, doing trick plays over your head while you're talking to him, whatever. And so you very much, as you said, have these intentional things like planned out in the game, and we have a script, and the day of the game we go over that with our entire technical side of our broadcast as well. So I mean, we're going to different stadiums every weekend, and
mhm.
we sometimes have different camera operators. So like, hey, that's Sam, so when we're talking about Sam, that's who he is, and here's where he's going to be, and this is what he should be doing. And so it's getting on the same page with all of that, and being prepared to adjust. Maybe maybe the player's not having the game they hope to have, or the audio's just not working that day, or something bigger happens. And I love, the freedom of like having something set, but as you talked about those improvised moments where, you know, Rack hits a home run and you're like, oh, this is now the story. And we talk about cutting down red tape. It's like, hey, he's touching home, saying, you're hearing it go, get in there, get that raw sound. And so while you are planning ahead to have these interviews and do these fun shticks or whatever that can bring attention to the right guys at the right times and help play within storylines throughout everything we do. It's also, and it's something that I try and work on, and still trying to get better at, is like thinking, okay, Reese Alexiadis is up to bat. If he hits a home run, what's a better question than like, how do you feel? Like, how can I do, how can I do something better than that? And maybe he strikes out, but having the intentionality of thing like, if this happens, what's something that I could take away from what just happened, or who he is, or build his character, or build him as a person. That would make sense. And so it's really cool to have, the structure of like, let's nail this, let's lock this in, let's make this the best it can be. And then the freedom to be like, something insane happened. Let's just get it. Let's run in the middle. Let's be a part of it. Um, and it's yeah, it's fun. It's like it makes your brain work in these different ways at the same time, which hopefully keeps me young, or or I'll die early. One of those.
It's a lot of scenario planning because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yep.
So it makes sense. Like, we do a lot of scenario planning on our side just for different angles, different piece situations, whatever. You obviously have the live element, which throws everything in. It makes it
Makes it more exciting. Yeah.
intentionally harder. Oh, okay, exciting. We can go with
Yeah.
that.
Right. That's a positive spin on it. It's exciting. Who knows?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about branding, because the bananas, Savannah Bananas, for those who don't know, I realize we're talking as if we know them because you work for them. I know them for a few years now. The Savannah Bananas have a very unique brand. I mean, for those who don't know, go look up Banana Ball. Totally turns baseball on its head, makes it fan first, as Sam's been saying. But the yellow is like the identity. Your owner, Jesse Cole, dresses in a yellow tuxedo, top hat and all, very identifiable. You've got yellow bases all over the field, for the four bases. How do you guys think about the brand as you move forward? Like when you think about a lot of corporate brands, they don't necessarily they have guidelines, not just design guidelines, but like we don't put it on the floor because we don't want people to walk on our brand because that could give the wrong impression. Obviously, baseball's a little different, but like, do you guys think about the brand that way, or is it just straight up like, let's have fun with it, let's put it on a boat, let's do these unique things with that
Yeah.
yellow and like make it fun?
Yeah. I think it is funny when you think of brand, right? You think of like the logo I've got on my shirt here, the color of the jerseys, Jesse's yellow tux, the bases, those things pop. But I think what Jesse would say our brand is, and we try and live out as a brand, is it's fans. Fans are our brand, and we would be nothing. That yellow would mean nothing. This really cool logo would mean nothing if we didn't think about how to make fans, how to put them first in what we do. And so when we think about where we are going, where we want to go, it's where our fans are or where we think they might be going. You can even look at adding two new teams. And we're up to 6 now. So we've got the Banana Ball Championship League, the first full year where these games now maybe they're always real games, they're always real competition. But now we're really hey, this is competition. There's teams who are not going to make the playoffs. They're trying to win. That was always real, but we're pushing this stakes of competitiveness because we know there are fans out there who will hook onto the storyline of competitiveness of I want the party animals to win. I want the coconuts to win. That's my team. That's my player. But also, it's about being able to reach more fans. If we have more teams, we can play more games in front of more people. And you look at it, we're playing in 45 states this year, and we're playing in venues from 100 and some thousand at Texas A&M to 3,000 in North Dakota, I think. I mean, we are just trying to reach fans. And the idea is that fans could from anywhere drive 3 hours, 4 hours and see a game. Um, because that's the biggest hang up we get, right? That is like the crux of success is it is built by people loving what you do, but then there is that frustration point, that friction point of, well, I can't see it. I can't get a ticket to it. I can't be part of it. And so adding more teams, going more places is our attempt to reach more fans where they are at. When you look at our broadcast, the intentionality behind not having exclusive deals, it is tough. Jesse has had to grind and negotiate with ESPN and CW and whoever at my TNT, TBS, and probably ones I don't even know about who've said, because that's how it works, right? That's how broadcast works. You get exclusive rights. If you're
Uh-huh.
watching the NFL, the game's on Fox. You can't go watch it. You have to have Fox to watch it. Well, we built our broadcast off of live streaming on YouTube. And so when and what a blessing it is to have these bigger broadcast partners approach us and say, "Hey, we want to broadcast your game." But Jesse said, "Okay, great. We're still going to do it for free on YouTube."
I'm sure they love that.
Yeah, right. Who's signing up? Well, wait, why? Who's gonna get this app or that app if they can just go watch it for free on YouTube? But Jesse said, we're not. We don't want to not reach those fans who've been there this whole time, who've always found us on YouTube, met us there. We don't want to all of a sudden say, "Hey, thanks for getting us here. Now you got to go buy an app to watch us or another subscription service to watch us." And we are so lucky that these broadcast partners have seen the value in working with us and seen the benefits, but it has not been easy, but we know the value of putting those fans first. What are you willing to lose in the short term to gain long term? And Jesse has done that through everything, everything. We lose money on stuff all the time, where everybody would be like, "Hey, idiots, what are you doing?" Um, it's growing fans because we know fans are going to be around a lot longer, if we put them first and we try and make life easier and funner and let them in. So A long term. I mean, the yellow is great. Don't get me wrong. And Jesse would tell you that he wears a yellow tux to remind people it's okay to have fun and be goofy and stand out. And that's why he wears it every single stinking day.
He
Uh,
wear yeah, every day.
yeah,
I thought you were gonna say every game, but every day because I've seen like videos and podcasts
yeah,
where he's actually wearing it in the interview.
yeah. There are very rare occasions. Maybe just got off a flight. He'll walk into the office and he'll still have on banana stuff. You're like,
hmm
who's that? Oh, Jesse. He's not. Like, it's very rare though. But yeah, that's I don't know if got exact, but our brand is fans. As much as it is a logo or a color, it's fans. It's who built us, and it's who's going to continue to allow us to grow.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Like we were talking before the recording. My wife's a theater teacher, and we followed the bananas for years now, but found them on TikTok. To your point about being intentional about social and whatnot, but we got word that you guys hired or recruited might be the best word. Derek Klena, is that how I pronounce it right? But she knew him from his stint on Wicked in Broadway. Like
Yeah.
she's like, oh, that's Fiyero. I'm like, what are you talking about? And now our daughter loves Wicked, so don't I like know the characters. But it goes to your point about fans because not weeks later, and the Banana Cruise is going on now, but like we get the video where like, oh, there's rehearsals for a Broadway show. Now she's like, that's why they got him. Of course, he also has a baseball background. He's
Yeah,
not
that
there
helps.
just
Yep,
as a
goes a long way.
as a Broadway star. But like now it's like she's like, that clicks. Now you're expanding it beyond just baseball fans and into Broadway and into entertainment more broadly. Like it's just you're growing the pie without getting like losing or intentionally losing or intentionally just like saying, well, these fans over here, we can afford to lose them.
Hmm.
You're trying not to even do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, there's a few different lenses of which you can look at that. Like you could call it the boy band mentality, right? You
Mhm.
like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. There's the punk one. There's the athletic one. There's what
Yeah.
we want. Emily Cole would say all the time. We want everyone that's in the stadium or watching on social media, to look down on the field and see someone they connect with, someone they see themselves with. Even the intentionality of bringing on these really talented women baseball players, and Kelsey
Mhm.
Whitmore and Ashton Lansdowne. Jocelyn Allo was with us a couple years ago, and to look around and see little girls who, you might think, oh, well, they love Princess Potassia, and they do. Everybody loves Princess Potassia. But there are some girls who love sports, and they are there
Mhm.
because they love the game. And how cool is it that they could look down on the field and see themselves playing?
Right.
If they're a fan of NFL, they don't really have that chance. They can be fans of players, but they can't see a world probably in which, oh, I'm playing. And now it's like, oh, I can play. I can be on the team. I can compete. That could be me. And jersey sales reflected it. Jocelyn Allen's jerseys went gangbusters because girls were like, there's somebody that sees me, and being seen is so valuable in what we do. And I like to look at through point two is For You pages. If you're on TikTok
Mhm.
or even your Instagram, the diversity of a For You page is why everybody's got this page. It's curated to kind of what you like, what you don't like. They're guessing what you like, this kind of
Mhm.
stuff. But everybody's looks a little bit different, right? Everybody's got this thing that, maybe you love watching people peel candle wax or something like that. You wouldn't tell everybody that. Well, those are the videos you're getting, right? Or maybe it's baseball, maybe it's Broadway. But it's really cool. I think what has made us successful through people in the front office, our marketing team, our entertainment team, to our players as well, is their For You pages
Mhm.
are diverse. They're different. And that allows us to tap into, we're not just one thing. I mean, even dancing baseball, it doesn't make sense, but we now have fans who love baseball and love dancing, and they can coexist and come do a game or see our content and see something they love, they connect with it. We have a player, Reese Alexiadis, who last year started watching anime, got really into
Okay.
One Piece. I've never seen it, couldn't tell you anything about it, but Reese started kind of changing an outfit and Reese is a great player. He's a very talented MVP contention type player. But he started watching One Piece, and so he started wearing kind of a One Piece outfit. And then when he make a big play, he'd do like a One Piece celebration and then post it on TikTok. And from the outside, you could be like, the anime, baseball, like doesn't make sense, man. Like, if you were to pitch that to somebody, they'd be like,
Yeah.
no, those audiences, they don't. There's no, doesn't make sense. But all of a sudden, his content goes crazy. He's adding hundreds of thousands of followers over just a couple months, and it's because his For You page was showing him anime, and it showed an audience there. And so he's like, I like anime.
Hmm.
Why not work it into what I do? And all of a sudden, we've got this audience that maybe can care less about baseball or the bananas or dancing, but they love anime. And all of a sudden, their anime is showing up on a baseball field, on a banana ball field, and they can connect with that. And then as an organization, we see it and think, okay, let's do a walk up where Reese does an anime thing and we'll post it. And so
Hmm.
it's just really cool. And we are really lucky to have people with different For You pages. We've have people in the front office who, before they worked here, never seen a baseball game. Never been to
Wow.
one, never watched one, and it's great because their For You page is not for baseball people, and it allows us to tap into an audience that are not baseball people. Then we have people like Josh Talevsky, who could tell you who won the 1942 World Series and what the stats were for that game. And you can go over to our Banana Ball page, and the people who love stats and the competitive nature
Hmm.
can just, that's it. That's why I'm here. But yeah, we want to find people where they are at.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, look, we're in an era where, and it's probably the last 15 years. I mean, you and I have probably seen this happen. Like cultures are combining. Like and I mean like internet cultures,
Yeah.
geek culture, whatever you want to call it, like
Yep.
it just combines in some fashion. There's no jocks versus nerds like Revenge of the Nerds movies were and like that. So like idea, Revenge of the Nerds night.
Yeah. Come on. Yep.
There you go. But like you could easily just see like you said, anime and baseball, like those two don't easily mix, but they clearly have there are people out there who just have that connection.
Yeah, it's so cool, and, Jesse, I think, first recognized it early on, and it's why the bananas grew quickly, is when he was in Gastonia, and he was a 20-something-year-old general manager, and he said, "I'm not in the baseball business. I'm in the entertainment business." And I that clicking for him has allowed us to, like, reassess that in whatever we do. So thinking, is it fans first? Is it entertaining? Doesn't have to just be baseball.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about how he used to get when he had a minor league team when they were associated with the league. It was
Mhm.
like he'd always get fined for like playing music at the
Yep.
wrong time or whatever. And he was just like, it doesn't matter. Like fans care about this. So yeah. Um, you mentioned 2026 is a big year. Banana Ball is
Mhm.
a championship.
Yep, Banana Ball Championship League.
Yep. So you've got 6 teams now.
Mhm.
It's been the bananas and the party animals for some time, or local teams in some cases. Um, how are you thinking about each of the 6 teams and building their brand? Like, is that your responsibility as the as this probably the sole PR person? But also like how do you tell those different stories because they each have their own identity.
Yeah, luckily, I'll say this, it's not just on me. Luckily, I'm surrounded by really talented people. People are way smarter than me. Our marketing team, VP of marketing, Kara Heater, has, been here since nearly the beginning. And so, but yes, there's intentionality, and like each brand is a little bit different. You go back into that kind of boy band type of thing. As we added teams, it was thinking, what could these teams be? Who are they? Who is their audience? How do we put it in a lane, but not make it such a tight lane that it's like, well, you can't be here. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And so, like, if you look at it from like a base side, it's like, oh yeah, the bananas, they're your family friendly team. They're the lovable, goofy Savannah Bananas. Party animals, it's like they're a party, man. They're a little bit wilder, they're a little bit crazy. Let's rip our shirts off. Let's have a drink, we don't want to say bad boys, but yeah, come on. They got a little edge to them.
Hmm.
You look at the firefighters, that was kind of all American. You're all American, a little bit blue collar. Um, and then so as we add team, Texas Tailgaters obviously representing a region like that and tapping into that. And then with Loco Beach Coconuts, it's we're bringing the beach to you, and it's kind of the chill vibe, and the cool vibe. And then the Indianapolis Clowns. I mean, there's that in what it is, honoring the Negro Leagues baseball team of which it came from. There is a lot of respect to pay to that, homage to pay to what came before, and also ushering it into this new era. And so uh, we have these kind of like guidelines of who these teams are, but we are also free to move around. There was a time, I'll tell you this, there was a time when the firefighters first came on. The rule was they don't dance. Firefighters,
Really?
they're not going to dance. They are going to be straight up. They're manly men. They're all American. Firefighters don't dance, and we tried it, and we found ways to work around. Maybe they just do physical, doing push-ups. So you can push up to music. You can do
Hmm.
lifting. And then we realized, oh, we've kind of bottlenecked ourselves. We have, because we said no, and this is a chance where we tested, right? And Jesse loves to test, and it's okay to realize, okay, that wasn't the direction. And so you know what we realized, maybe firefighters do dance. Maybe we do dance, and we saw you can dance in firefighter ways and incorporate it and work with the brand to make it make sense for what it is. But yeah, so there's intentionality behind each team and the direction we want to go and the content. Texas tailgaters, yeah, you're going to see more, the line dancing,
Hmm.
and which is very popular right now too, which is great. And
Yeah.
um, so it's cool. It's kind of like cool to see different versions of the same thing in a way, like Power Rangers, like it's a different color jersey, and they maybe a little bit different. They got a different weapon in their hand, but they're still a Power Ranger, at the end of the day.
So when you say you tested that with the firefighters,
Yeah.
was that fan reaction, social media? Like, how did you determine that that didn't work?
I think a little bit of both, right? We realized it was harder, and something being harder doesn't necessarily make you say, well, don't do it.
Hmm.
But it was harder from an entertainment standpoint. You had to be very intentional when you've been doing something the same way for a long time, which I think was part of it, right? You don't want to just do something to do it because that's how we've done it. And so I think there's like, well, let's try something different. But yeah, I think we realized, well, the things that really pop on social media, often involve dancing because it looks so different
Yeah.
on a banana ball field, on a baseball field. That's what caught the eyes of people to the bananas early on, was because it's like, guys are wearing baseball uniforms, and that guy just did ballet, and that guy can break dance. That doesn't, and so it's kind of the attention beats marketing, and it was getting attention that way. And so it's like, we tried. We wanted to do something different with the firefighters, and I think we realized based on reaction, maybe in person and through social media, that like people aren't connecting with this the
Right.
same way for some
Okay.
reason. You don't know if it's for sure the dancing, but let's try it. That's working for the other team. Let's go back to that, and then yeah, okay, yep, they're into this again. They're connecting a little bit more with this again.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was, a little bit of the live reaction, and of course, social media too. It's always a great temperature gauge.
All right. Yeah. No, that it sounds like, I mean, I'm going to put it back into corporate speak. It's an A/B test. That's all you guys did, was you tested one thing with the firefighters that you didn't do with the others. So,
Yeah, yep.
makes total sense. Okay. Last question. You've done a lot of, you've been in the middle of the chaos, as you said. Home run hit, you get to home plate to get that first interview. What's the one thing that, looking back, you like really just was either a really challenging moment for you, or just like a moment where you're like, that's the clip that I would put in my reel, for the highlights of my career?
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's a great question. I'll say, and I kinda touched on it already, but I didn't tell you the whole story. With Bill Leroy, when we did that walk up, he's hit more home runs last year than he had in his whole entire career. It's been a great year. Let's talk about home runs. So, not only do I interview him, right, as he's going to the plate, we do the whole funny shtick, whatever.
Mhm.
They've also got a mic on him, so he's gonna stay mic'd up for the whole at bat. He's talking to Biko and Josh, our broadcasters, and Bill is the epitome of bananas. Banana, he's catcher, he's number one, and he is just like, give the guy a mic and he will entertain the heck out of you.
Mhm.
And he's a fierce competitor too. And so he goes up and he is facing he's a member of the firefighters he played with him in high school. So he
Okay.
taught for him. And so he's like, hey, you know what? he likes to throw this. And sure enough, he throws that pitch. And Bill swing just misses it. He goes, okay, I, I bet he's going to throw a slider here. Throws a
Hmm.
slider. He saw, he goes, okay, I'll throw it again. Boom, hits a home run. And Bill being Bill, so Bill's mic'd up. It's over the broadcast. He's screaming about it. All right, he's like, don't throws the bat, and he's going crazy around the bases. And Bill is just such a. We talk about feel around here. The guy's got feel.
Hmm.
Goes around the bases. As he's rounding the bases, he's going, it's all in the hips. I told you, it's all in the hips. Goes all the way around, gets to home, and they're of course like, get him again, saying, go get inside, grab him. And I think anytime I've interviewed Bill after a home run, it is chaos, and he physically will just pick you. He's picked me up so many times. I might be a foot taller than him, and he just lifts you up and he's screaming in your face. And sure enough, he just nailed. You meet him at home, and he's like, "I told you, Sam. I told you, Sam. It's all in the hips. It's that easy. It's that easy." And it's great because if you could script it, you would have scripted that moment, but
Hmm.
you can't. But the fact that it did, like, that's your dream when you're sitting at that desk on Tuesday and that game Saturday, you're like, let's do Bill. Imagine if he hits a home run. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be cool? And to have the technology all work and for that to actually happen and to capture that emotion. I mean, for me, that is just like the gold standard of like preparation, meeting, improvisation. I mean, it's just like, and that's all you can think when you're interviewing. Like, you can't script this. This is insane. But it's those moments where it's like your intentionality and what you do ahead of time paid off because that's what
Hmm.
you dreamt of, and that's the moment you're thinking of. If he hits this home run, this is what we'll do. And then he does, and you're like, oh, this paid off. This is great. So that's one of those moments where it's like, it's going to take a lot to knock that one off for me. And for it to be with Bill, who I just really admire as a human being,
Hmm.
is really great. But yeah, we have challenges all the time too. Sometimes mics don't work. Sometimes shots go down. Sometimes two things happen at the same time because this dang game is going. So I was interviewing a player on the sideline at one point, and I was also on standby for Ryan Cox's one trick play away from a record.
Okay.
And we decided before the game, when he hits that record, you are to run out on the field, and we're going to give you the mic that goes over the entire stadium as well as the broadcast, and you're going to interview him really quick. Game will still be going on most likely. So
Right.
I'm over there on the sideline interviewing this guy. They've got like a double box, so the game's going on. Almost as I'm wrapping up the interview, I hear a cheer and they're in my ear, get him, get him, get him, get him. And I look over my shoulder and sure enough, Ryan has just hit the trick play record. So thank you so much. Toss the one mic away. They toss me the other mic and I just run out on the field, which is a challenge, but I mean, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
That's the challenge with live. That's
Yeah.
just
Yep.
what it is.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. Where can people find you? Anything you want to say to the audience before we close out?
Gosh, yeah, you can find me. It's like I should know my own socials. Sammy Bauman on Instagram, I believe. Sam Bauman. You look for me on LinkedIn if you want to talk professionally. Yeah, anyway, yeah, Sammy Bauman, Instagram. That's a good one, or LinkedIn. Personal, chill. Well, you can get either vibe from me if you want, really.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Sam. We appreciate you coming on to talk about the bananas, how you've transitioned from newscaster to PR, and just how you stay fresh with the improvisationalness of a live sport.
Well, I appreciate you having me. This has been a blast.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.